Quite a night over at the Bevan camp where at one point they were being congratulated and ready to pop the champagne, and now this.
A large crowd that was gathered here at the stage waiting for what they hope to be a victory speech from Matt Bevan has now shifted to the complete side of the room.
What do you think has resulted in this last surge? There were some media outlets that were already declaring Bevan had won.
Well, I can tell you, Jamie Comer doesn't give up. Jamie Comer fights, and we're fighting for every one of these last votes.
It's not over yet. The Republican primary for governor comes down to the wire between Matt Bevan and James Comer, the latest on the vote count. Good evening to you. The votes are in, but tonight it is still too close to call.
If you love Kentucky, we ask you to come on board because we are Kentucky.
And James Comer says he will ask for every canvass because of the very slim margin of victory that it appears that has gone to Matt Bevan.
I'm chomping at the bit. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to engage because this is important. This is important stuff. I mean, the governor of Kentucky controls a huge budget that invests in elementary and secondary education, higher education, invests in workforce development. The governor really should be the ambassador for creating jobs and bringing jobs to the state.
When Conway spoke with us, he did not know who he would be facing in the general election, but he said whoever that individual was, they would be pushing an agenda that would hurt Kentuckians.
Why are you running for governor?
I've had people ask me why I want to be governor, and what I have said, and I mean it with all sincerity, is it's less a function of it being what I want to do and more a function of what I'm willing to do.
Why did you choose to seek the governorship?
Well, I chose to seek the governorship because I think I can do the job. I really don't have any interest in holding the office, but I think I'm ready to do the job.
Right now, from the campus of Eastern Kentucky University, a live debate featuring the candidates for Kentucky's race for governor.
What is your plan to bring these systems back in balance to assure that Kentucky keeps its promise to its long-term employees?
The fact of the matter is money is tight in Frankfurt. The sky is not falling, though. We can't afford some things. And it's a matter of priorities.
The governor is who cut your budget, Jack.
But I implemented
and you keep taking credit for it, and it's a lie. Stop lying to these people.
I'm not
Stop
telling
lying
a lie.
to the people,
Jack. We cut our budget.
You didn't.
In 15 days, one of these three men will become Kentucky's next governor. They are at odds over nearly every aspect of our public education system.
Statistics show that for every dollar we invest in early childhood education, society reaps 7 in return. And that's one of the reasons I'm so focused on this. I want to make certain that we're doing right by our children who are in poverty at their tenderest ages.
A child going through Head Start has been shown to, by the age of about 9 years old, have no advantage over a child who didn't go through Head Start. Every study, including by the government themselves, has shown the same. So the important thing for people to understand is that Head Start does not equal early childhood education.
All eyes in the healthcare industry are tied to the governor's race. One thing is certain. Federal funding for the expansion of Medicaid and Connect, the state's health exchange, where about 500,000 people buy health insurance, is drying up soon. The federal dollars that were poured into Connect are ending at the end of the year. Democrat Jack Conway and Republican Matt Bevan, the two frontrunners in the governor's race, have very different ideas about what comes next for Connect.
Well, I do support keeping Connect. I think it's been a national model. It's paying for itself by a 1% fee that's on the insurers that was already in place. We're doing it efficiently.
Bevan says he would dismantle the state's exchange because Kentucky is already paying for the federal exchange.
Starting in 2016, those folks who are enrolled through the Connect exchange will, during that re-enrollment process, re-enroll on the federal exchange, where they can get the very same thing.
A lot of times I'll shut that door and just look at it.
Its message is to try something, and if it fails, try something else.
The biggest thing above all, try something.
This has been on the back of Jim Ward's door since he became Letcher County's judge executive almost a decade ago.
But you can't just give up. That's the thing. You just can't give up.
His county is struggling financially.
Going to be some real tough decisions that nobody's going to want to make, but it will be a have to make.
Before 2012, coal severance money came in at about $700,000 a quarter.
You times that by 4, you're looking at $3.5, $4 million.
Last quarter, the coal severance tax paid Letcher County $205,000.
We're going through numbers right now to see how much money we have to have.
A big hit, Ward says, one they saw coming but couldn't overcome.
You have to look at today and tomorrow, but you better be looking 20, 25 years down the road.
Because the past was fruitful. In Ward's younger days, he says there were probably 70 active coal mines in the county, and for many, it was a family business.
The one hard hat was my dad's, and the other one was mine.
They now sit as reminders of a past way of life, one they're still coming to grips with leaving behind.
You hear nothing, you see nothing. It's just here.
When did this one close?
This one's been closed probably 3 years.
This was one of the biggest plants in the area. There were about 50 people who worked here, and that number multiplied throughout the county.
You know, come down the road, we just come down, you'd probably make 20, 25 trucks.
I didn't see any.
Didn't see any.
The emptiness here, though, Ward says, leaves room for growth.
We just have to try to figure out different ways to diversify our economy.
It's like the little things that get us.
Brad Shepard just opened Heritage Kitchen on Main Street.
Which one's the slick paper? There you go. I think that's the thermal.
He has 8 employees.
You can't depend on one thing. We've depended on one thing for too long.
And says the talk in his restaurant isn't sadness.
But they'd also like to place an order for pickup when they're done, okay?
But quite the opposite.
All of the answers aren't there yet. It feels different. And there's some optimism, like, you know, we're going to find a way.
Trying to diversify our economies and see what works, what doesn't work. We're going to recruit new jobs in it. That's what we have to look at.
Ward says they need the next governor's help.
Our key phrase this year is don't give up.
They need ideas to grow their economy when overgrown coal mines are hard to look past.
That's what we got to realize. That, you know, there's always a way to figure out how to do something. The biggest thing above all, try something.
This is live coverage from WKYT and a live picture of Matt Bevin, the Republican candidate for governor, at the Galt House in Louisville, and it is 10 minutes of 8, and he has stepped out. All right, let's check in with Kristen Kennedy standing by live in Frankfort with the Conway campaign. Matt Bevin has stepped out. Have you seen Jack Conway?
Sam, we have not yet seen him, but I can tell you this room is filling up. There are a lot of people. They are anticipating seeing the Attorney General later on this evening.
The results are looking very favorable toward Matt Bevin. We've been speaking to members of the Republican Party and the Kentucky General Assembly, and they really like what they see. But we have been hearing how close of a race, a toss-up, a jump ball, if you will, to put it in sports terminology, is people saying that they feel like this is still going to go down to the wire, but they are very optimistic by what they are seeing at this point.
This is WKYT News at 11.
Good evening. Kentucky voters spoke and they demanded change.
It was about an hour and a half ago when Matt Bevin came out to greet all of his hundreds of supporters that were here tonight. How does it feel to be governor-elect?
Feels outstanding. It's a good day for Kentucky.
That was Governor-elect Matt Bevin's first words as he walked out to greet hundreds of his supporters as the second Republican governor in 4 decades.
What an extraordinary night this is. I'll tell you what is awesome, that this is a race that is a collective effort. You all are the wind behind us. You all were the momentum that brought this forward. You all represent those who from east to west, from north to south, are why we indeed will be the next governor and lieutenant governor of this Commonwealth of Kentucky.
Bevin said many times throughout his campaign that Kentucky needs a fresh start. Tonight, he promised the same and took a moment to remember what he's grateful for.
For the 1.5 million Americans who have given their lives in uniform of our nation's military. For the men and women who have given their lives in the uniform of our police officers and our firefighters and our other first responders. They have afforded us the very ability to be here tonight, freely assembled, freely speaking, and having the very privilege of the ballot box. And so our hat is off to those of you who have given everything and to your families who are watching tonight.
Bevin did introduce all 9 of his children. He said he wouldn't go through their whole names because that would take a long time. Bevin got a large applause when he said that this was an exciting night for Republicans, but he got even bigger applause when he said this was a big night for conservatives. We're live in Louisville. Miranda Combs, WKYT.